Hello ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to start a new topic. Before that we are doing our question. To be able to solve this equation, 4 to the power 2n plus 3 is equal to 8 to the power n plus 5. If you have two exponents, you have to make sure that their bases are equal. How can I make their bases equal to each other? 4 can be written as an exponent with the base of 2. 2 to the power 2, which is equal to 4, to the power 2n plus 3, which is equal to 8 can be written as an exponent with the base of 2, 2 to the power 3, to the power n plus 5. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen, if you take the power of power, you have to multiply the powers to be able to combine them. So, which means that 2 to the power 2 times 2n plus 3 will be equal to 2 to the power 3 times n plus 5. If you have an exponent equation, you have to make sure that their bases are equal. If the bases are equal, then you should expect their power are also equal to each other. 2 times 2n plus 3 must be equal to 3 times n plus 5. To be able to solve this equation, you need to distribute 2 into the parentheses. You need to distribute 3 into the parentheses. After that, 4n plus 6 will be equal to 3n plus 15. Next. So this is two-step equation. If you subtract 3n from both sides, you will get that n plus 6 is equal to 15. If you subtract 6 from both sides, you will get n is equal to 9. If n is equal to 9, then the left side is equal to right side. Today we are going to start a new topic, circle. To be able to understand this topic, you need to get some terms. The point which is in the middle of the circle is called center. And any segment from center to the circle which is called radius. The angle which is located on the center is called central angle. And the part of the circle is called arc. So AB is called arc. The part of the circle is called arc. If the question is asking you what is the measure of the arc, measure of arc AB, the measure of arc is equal to the center angle which it sees. So this arc is seeing this center angle. That's the reason the measure of the arc AB is also 95 degrees as well. One more thing. What is the circle measure? Which means that the measure of whole circle, the total measure of the one circle is 360. So you can also find the total arc measure of the circle is also 360 as well. What is the minor arc? What is the major arc? If I choose points A, and let's say that this is the circle with the center P and point B. Let me choose one more point C. As I told you before, the part of the circle is called arc. If this arc is less than semicircle means half of the circle. If this arc AB is less than semicircle, which is less than, this is called AB arc. We describe with this symbol, is called minor arc. If the arc is greater than semicircle, which is ACB, arc ACB, then we call this major arc. So this is the next question. Use circle with the center W. This symbol stands for circle with center W. To be able to find the measure of minor arc and the major arc, remember that was what I said before. To be able to find the measure of minor arc, this measure is going to be equal to the measure of central angle which this arc XZ sees. So the measure of minor arc XZ is also equal to 115. To be able to find the measure of arc XYZ, you can subtract minor arc from the measure of whole circle. What was the measure of whole circle? Which is 360. If you subtract 115, then you can get 245 is the measure of arc XYZ. Now, relation arc length to circumference. We are going to find the relationship between the arc length and the circumference. First, I'm going to explain what circumference of a circle. If we have a center O of the circle, and let's say that this is the radius R, to be able to find the circumference of a circle, you can get circumference is 2 pi r times alpha over 360. Don't forget alpha over 360. What does alpha over 360 stand for? Alpha over 360 means alpha is how many measure of the circle you are covering. If you are covering the whole circle, then the alpha is going to become 360. So don't forget this part when you find the arc length. Let's say that this is the arc. To be able to find the length of this arc, what we are supposed to do? This is the question. Let's say that your center angle is beta. If the measure of the central angle is beta, what is the measure of this arc? The measure of arc is also beta as well. To be able to find the length of arc, what am I supposed to do? Remember that. What is the whole circumference? 2 times pi times r times alpha over 360. What does alpha stand for? Alpha stands for how many degree of circle you are covering. As you see here, the measure of the arc, which I am going to find its length, is beta. So you are going to say that beta over 360. So this is how we are finding length of the arc. Most of the students are confused with measure of the arc and the length of the arc. Be careful, ladies and gentlemen. Measure of arc is equal to the measure of center angle. The length of the arc is 2 pi r beta over 360. This is so important. Alright, in this question we are going to find the length of the arc. In a circle with radius 4, let's draw a circle first. Let's say that this is the center O and this is the radius 4. In a circle with radius 4, what is the length of an arc that has a measure of 80? So let me graph an arc. This is an arc. This is an arc and the measure is 80. 80 is the measure of this arc. I have a question. If the measure of arc is 80, what is this center angle, the measure of center angle? It is 80 as well. Find the length of arc. I'm going to find the length of the arc. Length of arc. What was the formula? Remember, 2 times pi times r times alpha over 360. If I substitute all the given information, you can find 2 times pi times what is r, radius 4, times what is the measure of arc. The measure of arc is 80 over 360. When you calculate this, 8 pi times 80 over 360, which is equal to 640 pi over 360. If you use your calculator, you are going to find 640 times pi over 360, you will find 5.585 approximately. But the question is asking you 1 to the nearest 10. That's why your answer is going to be 5.6 is your answer. This is length of the arc. Next question. In the next question, in a circle with radius 6, we have a circle and this radius is 6. What is the length of an arc? What is the length of an arc that has a measure of pi radians? Here we go. The measure of this arc is pi radians. Run to the nearest 10. What was the length of the arc formula? Length of arc formula 2 times pi times r times alpha over 360. In this question, the measure of arc is given in the radians form. If you have the measure of arc in radians form, you can convert it into degree form. How? Degree over 180 is going to become radians over pi. We don't know what degree of this measure, so that's why I am looking for what is the degree over 180 is equal to, what was the radians? Is pi. Pi over pi. If you simplify this, ladies and gentlemen, pi divided by pi is 1. So degree is going to be 180. What does that mean? Measure of arc is pi is equal to 180 degrees. They are equal to each other. Now we can find the length of the arc easily. How? Let's substitute. The length of the arc is equal to 2 times pi times what is the r, which is radius 6, times what is the degree of the arc. The measure of the arc is 180 over 360. If you simplify this, you will get 180 divided by 180 is equal to 1. 360 divided by 180 is equal to 2. Let's multiply the numerator. 2 pi times 6 is equal to 12 pi over 2, which is equal to 6 pi. And this is equal to 6 times pi, approximately 18.849. If you run to the nearest 10, your answer is going to become 18.8. This is your length of the arc. What is the length of arc AD? I am looking for the length of this arc. To be able to find the length of the arc, First, you should find measure of the arc. First of all, let me write length of the arc. Length of arc can be found 2 times pi times r times alpha over 360. To be able to find this, first we need to find measure of arc AD. How? First of all, ladies and gentlemen, if this central angle is 43, what is the measure of arc BAC? Is 43 as well. If this central angle is 104, what is the measure of arc CD? 104 as well. If this central angle is 73, what is the measure of arc AB? Is 73 as well. So we don't know what measure of this angle. So that's why let's say that this is x. So remember that what is the measure of whole circle is 360. Let's add them up. X plus 73 plus 43 plus 104 must be equal to 360. If you calculate this, 73 plus 43 plus 104 is going to become 220. If you add them up, it's going to be 220, which is equal to 360. To be able to find what x is, subtract 220 from both sides, then you will get x is equal to 140. So this is the measure of arc AD, 140. If I found this, now I can find the length of the arc AD. By the way, what is the radius? Is 4. Let's calculate. 2 times pi times r times alpha over 360 is going to give you the length of arc AD. Do I know what radius is? Yes, which is 4. Do I know what is the measure of arc AD? 140. Substitute over 360. If you calculate this, eight pi, when you simplify by 10, you will get 8 pi times 14 over 36. When you multiply this, 8 times 14 is equal to 112 pi over 36. If you simplify this by 2, or let's divide by 4. Yes, if you simplify by 4, you will get 28 pi. If you simplify by 4, you will get 9. So the question is asking you find the result in terms of pi. 28 pi over 9 is your correct answer. The radius of circle with the center R is 9. So your radius is 9. Measure angle WRZ. WRZ here is 55. Measure angle WRX. WRX is 169. Measure angle XRY, which is here, 47. What is the length of XYZ? XYZ, I am looking for here. To be able to find the measure of arc XYZ, I need to find the measure of YZ. How? Let's say that this is X. We know that if this central angle is 47, then the measure of arc XY is 47 as well. If XRW is 169, this is the central angle, then this arc, the measure of this arc is 169 as well. If this center angle is 55, then the arc WZ is 55 as well. When you add them up, it's supposed to be equal to 360. Let's do it. X plus 47 plus 169 plus 55 is going to be equal to 360. If you add them up, X plus 47 plus 169 plus 55 is going to be equal to 271 is equal to 360. To be able to find measure of X, subtract 271 from both sides, that X is going to become 89. I found that this part is 89 and this is 89 as well. Now I am looking for measure of XYZ. XYZ here. To be able to find this measure, you need to add them up, 47 and 89. If you add them up, 89 plus 47 is going to become 136. After finding measure of arc XYZ, now I can find length of XYZ. Length of XYZ arc. How? 2 times pi times r times, what is the measure of whole angle? 136 over 360. Do I know what is the radius? Yes, substitute. 2 times pi times radius is 9 times 136 over 360. If you calculate this, ladies and gentlemen, 18 pi times 136 over 360, if you calculate this, you will find 136 times 18 times pi over 360 is going to be equal to 18 times pi times 136 over 360 is equal to approximately 21.36. So this is the length of arc XYZ.